morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Monday, April 15th, 2024. That is 4 years and a month of friends coming together from all over the world, across the globe, to learn Torah together, to face life and news and circumstance, knowing that we are not alone, coming together as friends from all over the world. Rika and Penny, it's good to see you. Thank you. It's broadcast 1035. Adele, good to see you. Hi, Susie. Boker Tov to Chana and Linda, Jacqueline, Fabrice, good to see you. Peter, hope that you are well. Linda and Arlene, Ashley and Dale, Boker Tov. Jerry and Adrian, hi Anya, hi Carl. Marilyn, Boker Tov. Patricia and Catherine, good morning. Good morning, good morning. It's good to find each other this morning and every morning, truly. Lydia and Judy, Robin and Barry, Diane and Barbara, Jonathan, Roberta, Linda. Good to see all of you. Hi Arlene. Hi Helen. Hi Ron. All right, friends. Sandy, good to see you. Let's take a breath. Let's prepare as we have for 1035 mornings to learn Torah together. Let's remember that it is also day 192 since October 7th, calling for our family to come home. We have a lot to talk about, especially after this weekend, but let's take a breath before we do that. Let's learn some Torah after we sing a blessing. So really, take a breath with me. Friends, it is good to see all of you. I see a bunch of both private messages and requests because I shared on social media over the weekend that my precious daughter in Israel, in Jerusalem, was sleeping in a bomb shelter because of the barrage of missiles and projectiles being sent from Iran. Some of you are asking how she is, so let me tell you, she's right here. She's on Instagram. So if you comment on Facebook, she won't see it. But she and our family, and I mean all of our family in Israel, have gone from the surreal fear of 350 projectiles, 60 tons of ordnance being fired directly from Iran into Israel, at Israel for the very first time in history. 99% of it stopped by Israel and her allies. So Ariel has gone from the surreal fear of that all, and I don't really mean to point to her, it's our whole people, to now being, you know, burdened with going to class at Hebrew University, where she is blessed to be. So I'm not going to make this about Ariel, but what I will say is thank you for asking how she is. Thank you for knowing that when you pray for her, you are praying for our people, praying for my heart too. And let's move forward into a little bit of learning for today. But we cannot do so without acknowledging the intensity of this weekend. I'm imagining that we were united in trembling. And for all of the analysis that this was Iran doing what everyone expected it to do, knowing that it would be stopped, no country, no country sends 350 missiles into another territory in order to fail. This, according to most analysts, is of the same intensity as Russia's worst barrages into Ukraine. So, number one, bless the state of Israel with safety and protection, all of her inhabitants. A young Muslim Bedouin girl was injured. She's the only injury reported, and she is our family. You know, I posted, God keep our family safe, and someone said, what about the Muslim Bedouin girl? And I said, that's our family. The presumption that Israel only reflects my, bloodline is a terrible misperception of what it is, for what Israel is, what the heart of Israel is. The very Declaration of Independence, Megillat Ha'atzmaut in Israel, recognized the sanctity of every resident's life. And for all of the terrible misperceptions and portrayals, willful blindness and propaganda attacks, the power of this, friends, the power of this is to recognize that we are one, by which I mean a bigger family than most people understand. I mean all of us. I mean Bedouins and Muslims and Christians and Baha'i and Jews. I mean Soviet Jews and Ethiopian Jews and Yemenite Jews, Moroccan Jews and French Jews and British Jews, and yes, multiple 5, 6, 7 generations of Israeli Jews, of pre-British Mandate Ottoman Empire, Eretz Yisrael, land of Israel Jews before there was a state. I mean that as we're going to learn Torah today, we ground ourselves in our humanity once again. We are not alone. To see the countries that stood and mobilized in defense of the state of Israel, the United States and England and Jordan and Saudi Arabia, this is a moment for us not to let our intensity in any way decrease for the fight for the release of our family. The narrative will not change our attention, but it is also an important moment for us to stand and recognize that we do not stand alone. Iran isolated itself, and we have a moment just to breathe and say, look at who our friends are and how they showed up. When we say Am Yisrael Chai, we do say it defiantly at the world, but we also must, I must, allow for the recognition that we did not stand alone Saturday night. Now, I committed last week, in terms of our Torah learning, to go from Tazria Mitzorah, the 2 Torah portions last week and this week in Leviticus that we read in the Torah, to preparing for Pesach. So let us truly allow the Haggadah to speak to this moment. And let's think. I'm saying to myself, not only to you, let's think. Does the Haggadah reflect every aspect of our current reality? Or have a few things perhaps shifted just a drop? We will not take it for granted, but can we have some perspective in this moment? So for those who grew up on this Haggadah, this is the OG. The truth is, the OG is thousands of years old, but the Maxwell House Haggadah, which is what I'm holding in my hand, became the classic because they gave it away for free when you shop for Passover groceries for a long time. So it became the dominant text. This is in the middle of the Magid, the middle section of the Haggadah, and throughout this week, I'll be sharing perspectives on the Haggadah, either, Seder suggestions, but certainly relevant Torah for this day. Vehi She'Amda La'Avoteinu V'Lanu. You cover the matzah, you raise a cup of wine, and if you're in the Maxwell house, you're on page 12, when you say, Vehi She'Amda La'Avoteinu V'Lanu, this promise that has sustained our ancestor and us, this is the promise. Notice we cover the matzah. We cover the matzah to do that, which means it is not the matzah story, the exodus from Egypt. That's not the promise. The promise is eternal. It predated the exodus from Egypt, and it is eternal. It continues. This is what saves us. What is it? Shelo echad bilvad amad aleinu lechalotenu. It is not one enemy alone that rose up to destroy us. Ela shebechol dor vador omdim aleinu lechalotenu. Every generation has someone who rises up. Remember an old Safam song. Whether it's a Hitler, a Brezhnev, or Assad, they will never learn that we're all children of one God. It's so important for us to recognize that over the course of time, there has been no shortage of anti-Semites. Jews forever have to remain aware, and always have been. And sometimes we have been rudely shocked into that awareness again, as in America today and so many places around the world. But it is also important to remember that this, because it is not new, is something that we are practiced at. We've been out of practice for some time. There was a blip. October 7th flipped all of that on its head. But look at the power of Saturday night. What saved us? Good planning, powerful technology, self-defense, self-determination. I want you to hear the end of the paragraph here in the Haggadah and think with me for a moment about it. I'll read again the beginning. Vehi She'Amda La'Avoteinu V'Lanu, Shelo echad bilvad amad aleinu lechalotenu, ela shebechol dor vador omdim aleinu lechalotenu. And this is the promise that stood for our ancestors and for us. Not one enemy alone has risen to destroy the Jews. In every generation, there have been those. The end is, V'akadosh Baruch Hu, matzilenu me'adam, and the Holy Blessed One saved us from their hands. I gotta say, for all of my liberal theology, for all of our expansiveness, and for all of the non-dogmatic core of Judaism, which is to say, believe this way, believe that way, don't believe, but belong, for all of that truth, how important is it for us to recognize right now that when we say we are not alone, we also have turned in so many ways beyond the self. Yes, to allies, powerful, important friends and allies. Israel's placement within the United States CENTCOM, which is the way the United States apportions the world, really did, 7 years ago, change the way that Israel exists in the United States constellation of democracies. But also, God. Also God. Also God. Because in that moment, Saturday night, when 350 missiles were aimed at our family, aimed at my sister and her family in Tel Aviv, aimed at my daughter in Jerusalem, aimed at countless friends and millions of family members who I have yet to meet, including the survivors of October 7th, including friends from all over the world, including. We turn to each other, and we do turn to God. This paragraph says so much about Jewish history, about Jewish consciousness. You know, the Talmud says that Jews don't remember the old troubles, we get new ones. I know it's not only true about Jews, but it is also true about us right now. And Saturday night was not just a moment where we made it. Saturday night was a moment where we didn't stand alone. One of the most searched terms in Israel for Google, because we have reports about this, was Psalms. We turned to Psalms. We turned to the outpourings and expressions of our hearts, saying to the universe, some of us saying to God, some of us saying to each other, some of us making sure that our relationships politically and interfaith, they are not just intact, we're nurturing them even in these terribly disturbed 6+ months. But we turned beyond the self. Some of us prayed. A lot of us cried. I was caught in that moment, and I was thousands of miles away, but I was right there. I was right there with my child, with all of our children. So I want you to hear this paragraph again, and then I want to make one big claim. This is the promise that has sustained our ancestors and us. It was not one enemy alone who rose up against us to destroy us. In every generation there are those who rise up against us and seek to destroy us. But the Holy Blessed One saves us from their hands. I'll tell you a quick story that I told months ago. 2 weeks after October 7th, I was blessed to be part of a UJA delegation to Israel with a group of rabbis from New York. And there, we met with a young man whose brother had been stolen. Since that day, his brother was confirmed to have been killed, murdered, on October 7th. But in the weeks following October 7th, we didn't know that yet. And he didn't have to serve. He didn't have to serve in the army because his brother was a hostage. He was exempt. But he came to see us from the front lines of Gaza, where he went to fight with his unit, because how could he possibly not? How could he not show up to be with his colleagues, his friends, his brothers and sisters, fighting in defense of our family? So he went. But the other challenge that he was facing was that he was supposed to get married 2 weeks after that, the day after actually my son's bar mitzvah. And he wasn't sure what to do, so he asked his family, his bride-to-be and her family, should we postpone for now? What should we do? And his family all said, we get married. And he walked down the aisle, she walked down the aisle. They together walked down the aisle to Yonatan Razel, a beautiful spiritual singer in Israel right now, a musician, who sang to them these words that we've been learning today. Vehi She'Amda La'Avoteinu, Vehi She'Amda La'Avoteinu Elanu, Shelo Echad Bilvad Aman Aleinu Lechalotenu, Omed Aleinu Lechalotenu, Ve'akadosh Baruch Hu Matzilenu, Matzilenu mi'adam. Ve'akadosh Baruch Hu Matzilenu, Matzilenu mi'adam. So friends, what I want you to do with me just before we sing Hatikva is reach out beyond the self. I'm not telling you to believe in a certain way, but if you're searching for faith, the Haggadah is one of the ways to access it, and this moment is one of those that demands it. Faith that we will not walk alone. Faith that we will be safe. Faith that our children will be safe, that their children will be safe, that our musicians will sing us into the future, that we will get married, that we will recover, that our missing family members will come home. I know that I can't do that myself. I don't even know that it's possible. But Zionism, Judaism, any faith is about bringing into reality something that feels less than possible, more than possible, and we demand more than what feels possible. The Haggadah has lasted thousands of years and was born in a moment where freedom was unimaginable. Look how far we've come, friends. Look what we have come through. Look at our beautiful resilience, our sacred life force. So just for a second, even if you don't know the words, even if you don't know the melody, even if the Haggadah is unfamiliar to you, and even if you are one of those blessed part of our family who isn't even Jewish, we're all family. Pray with me. Pray with me. In an undogmatic way, sing with me. No matter what you think your voice is. Your voice is beautiful. You are beautiful. Sing with me. I'm going to sing Vehi She'Amda again. This is a melody by Yonatan Razel. You can find it online. It's from this Haggadah. It is for this moment. And it is from you to me and me to you. And from all of us to our family who desperately needs this music and this hope. So, I'm going to sing it again, and I invite you to sing with me. Vehi She'Amda La'Avoteinu, Vehi She'Amda La'Avoteinu Velanu, Shelo echad bilvad Amad aleinu lechalotenu, Omed aleinu lechalotenu. Ve'akadosh baruch hu matzilenu, matzilenu mi'adam. Ve'akadosh baruch hu matzilenu, matzilenu mi'adam. Friends, we sing. I want you to notice one thing about the words, and then we'll sing a tikva. The words go from Amad Aleinu, and then Omed Aleinu. God stood with us, and God stands with us. And that doesn't mean as a weapon against anybody else. It just means we are not alone. It just means hope. It means life. It means tomorrow for our children and our children's children. Long ago, and sometimes still, we were enslaved. But we are on a trajectory towards freedom, and we will use that freedom to be a beacon of light for all people, fighting for peace even when that feels so far out of reach. We do not become less human. The longer we live, we become more human, no matter what is thrown at us, because we do not stand alone. We will be a source of love. We will demand that our children and our elders be brought home so that we can love them back into life. Bring them home now. Please bring them home now. Remind them that they do not stand alone. We stand with them. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion tzofia. Od lo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liot am chovshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. See you tomorrow, friends. Have a beautiful day.